Access granted.
Subject: Interview with Henry Golding. Body: on 7/16/2021, the full force got the chance to speak with actor Henry Golding following a private screening of the Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins movie in New York City. Here's what we were allowed to show you from that G14 classified recording.
Access granted.
This is not your way. This is mine.
I'm Christopher McLeod from the Full Force podcast, and this is the Full Force Redacted, and I am with none other than the man himself, Snake Eyes, Henry Golding. How are you doing?
What's up, Chris? Good to see you, man.
You too, man. Old friend. I'm kidding. It's spoke once. Yeah, okay. New old friend. Well, first off, Henry, I've got to give you some props here because I've seen the film. It's amazing. I loved it. Fantastic. Some incredible fight sequences. I mean, it's a very different Snake Eyes that we're getting in this particular film. I mean, could you take us through the kind of motivations of this character in this particular phase of his life?
Yeah, you know, we jump in at a point where we meet Snake Eyes at his most vulnerable, at his most kind of broken. He has these thoughts of grandeur, of making everything right by vengeance. And that's something that leads many people down very sort of mistaken roads. And that's where we sort of see Snake Eyes heading. And it's not until his run-in with Irashikage and with Tommy that we start realizing that perhaps, you know, it is the fact that he needs something more in his life to realign him into what we know and who we know Snake Eyes to be. And that's a warrior with the warrior spirit and honor. And so we see that journey as a human rather than as Snake Eyes, the operative or the G.I. Joe. And I think that was the most important part about this project, is that it was about endearing the human to the fans rather than just Snake Eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of, it's a good thing you point out the kind of difference between the operative of Snake Eyes and like the human kind of aspect of it, because that's something that definitely comes through in the film. Like you definitely see, you know, like more humanity to him, obviously with his father and with lots of other things that are kind of going on. But I mean, like in terms of the actual filming itself, I mean, how was it working with like Kenji Tanigaki, Kimani Ray Smith, that stunt team? Because I mean, I know you've probably talked about the training aspect of this over and over again, but it does make for some amazing footage on screen, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, you know, I was a huge fan of Kenji's work from the Samurai X sort of initial, like the Rurouni Kenshin of years ago, the first live action film that they did. They've done 3 or 4 up until now. But when I got word that he was on board to do the choreography, I was just like, holy crap balls, this is going to look absolutely insane. And Kimani being one of the more prolific sort of stunt coordinators in Vancouver, of course, those two gelled together so well. But it was, again, a torturous kind of journey into breaking our bodies down and building them into what we needed them to be so we could accomplish everything with great fluidity, with great sort of supposed ease on screen. And the only way you could do that was through hard graft. And that was like months of preparation.
Well, I will say you make being a ninja look very easy, Henry, to be perfectly honest, because considering you hadn't done this kind of stuff beforehand, like, you know, well, you know, like to this level anyway, you absolutely, you know, everyone did. I mean, I know Andrew Koji had a lot of kind of, you know, previous experience too with Warrior and like all of his martial arts expertise over the years, but it's just everyone's so good and looks so good on screen. It's amazing.
I mean, it was important to build out the world with believable characters. You know, we introduced a character called Akiko, who is phenomenal. Haruka Abe really brought her A game. Samara Weaving, Ursula, Takahiro, which we all will come to know, is phenomenal as our grand sort of baddie Kenta. But yeah, we all went through that training. We all dedicated that time away from our families to make sure we got it right.
And it was worth it, in my opinion. Not the time away from your families, the actual stuff on screen. Now, I mean, the cast, like you just mentioned there, it's amazing. You've already mentioned Ursula, Samara, Haruka, Takahiro as Kenta, and you're right, as a villain, incredible. Also, Peter Mensah, Iko Uwais. I mean, what a cast! I mean, how was it working with them? I mean, honestly, you probably hate them all, but I'm kidding. No. But seriously, how much fun was it working with that cast?
It was, especially with Iko. We have the Southeast Asian connection with him being Indonesian and myself being Malaysian. So that's like a unspoken sort of brotherly bond. None of the rest of the crew understand what we've sort of lived through and the kind of cultural references that we both share. So that was very special. Peter Mensah, absolute king when it comes to, man, like everything from Spartacus to 300 to, he's been in such iconic roles, and I thoroughly remember from all of his work. He's so memorable. So what he brings to Blind Master is just insane. It's probably the best iteration that you'll find anywhere. So yeah, we stacked that cast out under the guise and premise that hopefully we'll be able to make more movies and expand this world.
That's what I'm hoping for anyway. But yeah, like Peter Mensah, as you mentioned there, like he fits that role so perfectly. Like he's just such a good actor. You're right, absolutely spot on. And his Blind Master is fantastic in that film. Well, we talked about the cast. What about Robert Schwenke? Because I mean, I heard you're on that live stream the other day. You were playing Fortnite, which I watched and thoroughly enjoyed, by the way. And you mentioned a couple of things that kind of jumped up to me in that. One of them, obviously, was Robert Schwenke's and how you work at Robert Schwenke and how you've worked with him and how the actual job came about. I mean, could you go into like detail about that? Because so they approached you to do this effectively, didn't they?
Yeah, I got a note from sort of Paramount that I was one of a few people that they were considering. And it really sort of was down to meeting up with Robert, expressing my part as much as him expressing his sort of plans for the movie. And it was down to us kind of both realizing and understanding that we wanted to make something really different to what we've seen. He has come from many franchises in the past and he's worked for big studios like that. And he's always like, there are pitfalls, but when it comes to creative, he was so specific as to what he wanted from this origin story. That's what drew me to him. And I think we really aligned in those goals. And then it was like they say, the rest is history.
Yeah, that's so cool. And like, yeah, and I'm obviously in that same interview, you mentioned about being in the UK as when you were younger, and obviously that would have been our similar kind of upbringings. I think you're a bit younger than me, but we won't get into that just yet. I'm not going to give away any ages on the screen. But obviously, from my experience growing up in the UK, it was Action Force for a while before it became G.I. Joe fully. And you mentioned that you were kind of into some of the G.I. Joe and the Transformers comics at the time. So, I mean, this isn't something you're coming into with like no background whatsoever. Like this is something that you're knowledgeable about to a degree, isn't it?
I would say in comparison to the diehard G.I. Joe fans, I'm at the tip of the iceberg. Because what was filtered to where I grew up in the UK and in Malaysia was kind of like just a brief flash into that world. It is so in-depth. There are so many characters, so many comic books, so many sort of offshoots of storylines that we all sort of should be aware of. But for me, it was really concentrating at this section of this journey, and that's right at the beginning. And because I have the ability to say for a character like Snake Eyes to have no knowledge of the GI Joes at this stage in his life, no knowledge of Cobra. What he's experienced thus far is his personal experiences. So for me, that was crucial to not fill my head with, oh, where are we heading after this movie? Or what are we doing for this future? What is his relationship with Scarlet? What is it? You know, that I didn't want to cloud my my sort of concentration with any of that. And so it was a crucial decision to sort of stick to the material as the Bible for then and now.
Absolutely. And it's really cool to hear you say that as well. Like, you know, to kind of, you know, I mean, we don't expect like every single actor when they're doing a role to know everything about every single, you know, it's just impossible to be that way. Especially when you're talking about a property that's like, you know, so many years old, going back to like the 60s, even before like the 82 Real American Hero stuff. So yeah, that's totally cool to hear, actually. I really want to know about the costume. When did you first see it? Were you given like concept drawings or anything like that? Or was it just like, hey, Henry, here's the suit?
Yeah, I would go to the amazing men and women who sort of designed the costume. It's called Ironhead Studios. If hopefully I'm getting this right. But I actually have the original concept photos that they had to share with me, and I kind of like I sneakily took one because I wanted to show, you know, John M. Chu, my old director, and just to sort of live out these sorts of dreams. And like this was one of the there you go. That was one of the concept photos that I was able to sort of have this imagery, and that's, you know, this is
amazing.
This is just for you, Chris.
Yes, thank you.
But that's what I was able to sort of imagine and picture. It was so important, especially going into something like this, is like I understand this journey as a man, but where are we heading? Like I need a start point and an end point, and this is the end point. So to build up to that, and you know, a suit like that carries a tremendous amount of expectation, and a tremendous amount of, I suppose, responsibility. So for a character like Snake Eyes, how do you earn that? And so how much of a 180 degrees do you have to do to be able to fit into something like that? And that's the story arc that I had sort of in my head.
Yeah. Was it comfortable?
I'd be lying if I said that it was really easy to put on and wasn't claustrophobic at all.
Another exclusive for the full force there.
But no, it's like last put it on, it's form fitted to me, so it fits like a glove, and it just feels absolutely amazing. And the response you get from people when you're walking to set is just like, it's crazy.
Take my wallet. That's amazing. That's so cool. I mean, like basically as well. So that's thrown me because I wasn't expecting to see some sort of concept piece on your phone. That's incredible. Well, before we go. Well, before we go, I should say the cinematography for the film is absolutely spectacular. Beautiful shots of Japan. I mean, the locations you filmed at as well for the Arashikage Temple are just gorgeous. And I mean, it must have felt pretty cool to be working there, especially with all like the history, the cinematic history behind a lot of that. I mean, did you feel that energy while you were there, while you were on set?
Absolutely. It only lent itself to make us better as actors, make the picture better. And, you know, it's a joy to be able to film in a country like Japan. You don't often get the chance. One, it's really expensive. Two, there are many protocols and permits that you need to pull. So you have to have, I suppose, the support from the Japanese government, in which we did, because I think Robert Schwenke is an absolute Japanese cinephile when it comes to his back catalog of samurai films and his love of Kurosawa and the sort. So he was one of the main reasons why they believed that we were trying to do something beautiful here.
That's absolutely fantastic. Henry, mate, it's been absolutely wonderful seeing you again. So I've really got to say thank you so much to keep doing this. I really, really appreciate it, honestly.
Definitely. Won't be the last we see of each other.
Right, so tomorrow I'll pencil you in for a 2-hour. I just wanted to show. I'm rocking the. Yeah. You got the mask on it as well. Got the hood.
I had
one full snake, guys.
Literally, I would not sort of get out of that thing. So I think it comes in a Storm Shadow one as well, right?
You mean this one right here? Oh yeah, I spoke to Andrew on Tuesday, obviously, so I had to wear the Cobra version.
Damn,
but
Chris, always great to see you.
Always a pleasure. Have a great day, mate, and thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourself. Thank you.
You've saved my life. Why?
I'm not a murderer. I looked into your eyes and I saw honor.
I owe you. We are going home.
I don't have a home.
Not yours. Mine.
What is it exactly you do?
For 600 years, our ninja have brought peace to the world.
But things have changed.
I need warriors like you to become the future of the clan.
It's yours, if you want it.
Let's go.
I can't change your past. I can offer you something more important. A home.
I came to make you an offer, Tommy.
Call me Storm Shadow.
Access granted.
Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/TheFullForce, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/TheFullForce podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.
Access granted.